Russia is in the news and it's also in technology, but not in the ways you've probably heard about. In fact, a ton of Russian technology startups are making their way from Moscow, the hotbed of technology in Russia, to Silicon Valley here in the United States and bringing a lot of innovation with them. For Tech Republic and ZDNet, my name is Dan Patterson with Masha Drokova. She is an angel investor and venture capitalist, formerly of Moscow, now in San Francisco. Masha, thank you very much for taking the time to join us today. I wonder if we could kind of index or summarize some of the technologies and companies that have come out of Moscow that American business technology and consumers may not be aware of.
Of course, I'm happy to do that. I think there is a number of companies Americans heard of. And I think the largest companies from Russia, Yandex and Mail.ru, but there are B2B companies that Americans might be aware of. There is a large company, Veeam. They do backup, and it's a large company with $100 million revenue. And they do very high quality products in data protection. There is another data protection company, Acronis, I worked for before. It is, again, company with a few $100 million revenue, 20 offices all over the globe, and more than 700 employees. That's been around for more than 15 years, and that produce really high quality software. There is a company, Parallels, and they've been doing Parallels Desktop for Mac. It is solutions that allows to run Windows on Mac, and they were in Apple Store for a few dozens of years. I think there are some new startups. I think you had a talk with Enter Club. They do face recognition technology, and there are some startups some promising startups which founded by Russian founders. For example, there is company Chatfuel, which is founded by Dmitry Dumik. He's originally from Russia, and it is the most popular platform to create chatbots. Or there is company Digital Genius, which is AI for customer support automation, and they do really great job to help enterprises to automate the software. And two founders are Russians, but they left Russia when they were young. Or there is company Replica, which is your AI friend and bot that becomes your friend. The founder of it, Eugenia, she's also Russian. So there are a number of new companies which are around and getting popular. Or there is company Sandbird by Maria and Sergey. They're also in New York as you are, and they do I think subscription-based cosmetics, and they grow really well.
Are there particular things about Russian technology or the way Russian business leaders run their technology companies that American companies could and should benefit from?
I think I was lucky to work with really smart Russian founders, mostly like Sergey Belosov, and all Russian founders I work with, most of Russian founders I work with, they have very strong background in science, so they were trained to become really cool scientists. But then they turned their way and became businessmen. So it's super smart people with amazing vision. And I think it is because Russia still have very strong school in science. And even in my team, in my investing team, and in my VR business, I have lots of physicists from Russia. And I feel like it's, again, not about Russia, I have high chances to hire some Russian physicists because of the network, and because it's just interesting for them to do something in international market. And for me, the differentiator, they have impressive vision. They can zoom out and see a big picture and create some innovations. While I think all Americans I've been working with here, and I met many Americans with amazing vision, they're really good in execution. And I think it's a strength of Americans just scaling, and the strengths of Russian founders I work with just being able to have really amazing vision. on the market and on the technology and being able to create something really new. But not that many strengths in scaling, while Americans really strong in scaling. And in my team, it's kind of a perfect combination. Me and Russian physicists and very cool American professionals, which are scaling what we discovered.
Those are fantastic shared values, which I hope kind of becomes a theme of many of our conversations. I wonder if you could enumerate some of the emerging technologies that are bleeding edge in Russia. Here, obviously, there is artificial intelligence and big data. Blockchain and cybersecurity firms are all reasonably hot business technologies. What I know that when Americans look overseas, they sometimes have blinders. What technologies are really emerging in Russia that Western companies should pay attention to?
I think you've already named them. I think Russians are really strong in 3 areas right now in crypto, and I think it's partially Vitalik's Buterin influence, partially because Russians always wanted to figure out some super complicated technologies. And 2, it's cybersecurity, partially because there is a strong school and number of successful big cybersecurity projects like Kaspersky, and the cybersecurity or or like some security companies coming from Russia, they might be not related to Kaspersky, and I don't think Americans should be ever scared of Russian security companies. They can do really good job, but the fact that Kaspersky existed makes them being able to train thousands of people which went through Kaspersky and through their ecosystem. It seemed like lots of technology in Estonia appeared after Skype grew and became and developed, right? And same in Russia after Kaspersky, we just have lots of cool cybersecurity professionals. And number 3 is artificial intelligence. And again, I think the reasons are because many people which were trained to be scientists turned into tech business, and just the number of people and the people they were learning from, the number of people trained to be scientists good, and they had really good teachers.
I'm glad you mentioned Kaspersky, particularly related to trust. In the mainstream news, outside of technology circles, Americans hear a lot of horror stories, and without the sophistication to understand technology, there's probably a lot of fear that may not be founded. Do you have a particular message when discussing technology to Americans in particular? This is a heated political time, and politics is kind of in its own bucket, but are there ways that Americans may misunderstand Russian technology companies, or do you have a particular message in order to help American other venture capitalists, investors, or entrepreneurs feel like, hey, it's cool, don't worry about a lot of the hype?
I think I like when people are smart. I think everyone can be smart if wasn't lazy to have own opinion and to dig into the details. I wouldn't put all Russian companies or all Russian investors in one category. If you're investor or if you're enterprise company and you meet Russian startups, I would probably double on due diligence to make sure they don't have any rules that could damage your business. Just double on due diligence, but I wouldn't be biased just because it's Russian company. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's just smart. I think you can lose opportunities in business if you would say no to all Russian companies. But even like with Kaspersky, like it's always your choice. And I had opportunity. I had an opportunity to work with them, and we decided to not work with them. And I feel like long term it was the right decision, right? And because of some of the tides, but on the other hand, companies like Vim and Acronis and a company like Telegram, which has Russian founder, I feel like they have a clean story and they just do super cool products. And I wouldn't be scared. I would just, every time you hear about that just go into the details and make on due diligence and frame your own opinion, and don't be fool which is manipulated by public opinion or by some bias, right? Imagine like some people wouldn't invest in Sergey Brin because he's Russian, or just some people would lose lots of money. So you don't want to miss next Sergey Brin or next Vitaly Buterin.